China is the world's most populous country, with roughly 1.4 billion citizens. It is renowned for its prickly foreign policy and rapid economic ascent from relative poverty in the 1980s. But it also has an outsized reputation for extreme laws and human rights crimes. Today, we're looking at things you're not allowed to do in China. It is the 14th letter in the English alphabet and an extremely common consonant. But for the Communist Party of China, it is also a subversive and intolerable character that was banished from the internet in 2018 as Chinese censors battled to silence criticism of Xi Jinping's bid to set himself up as ruler for life. That's right, the Great Firewall of China, the playful name for China's censors, banned the letter N for a matter of days. The contravening consonant was perhaps the most unusual victim of a crackdown targeting words, phrases, and even solitary letters censors feared might be used to attack Beijing's controversial decision to abolish constitutional term limits for China's president. The Communist Party has painted the move, which experts say paves the way for Xi to become a dictator for life, as an expression of overwhelming popular support for China's strongman leader. However, there has been widespread online pushback in China when it was announced on the eve of an annual political congress in Beijing. Other banned phrases are personality cult, lifelong, immortality, disagree, and shameless. All of the major American social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, are banned in China. There are rough Chinese facsimiles, but of course they are highly censored as well. Months of unrest in Hong Kong has caused concern in mainland China, where news about the pro-democracy protests has been carefully filtered out of social media. It's common for social media companies in China to remove content that is perceived to be threatening to social stability or the ruling Communist Party. Beijing-based journalist and writer Carolyn Kahn says that because people can get into trouble with the authorities by posting sensitive words, some users have found creative ways to get around the censors. Despite the ban, China still factors into the equation for U.S. companies. Facebook, for example, saw an estimated $5 billion in ad revenue from Chinese-based companies in 2018, making the country the company's second-largest ad market, according to Ad Age. That firewall isn't impenetrable either, as some Chinese citizens have found ways to circumvent blocks on websites by using virtual private networks. Pornography is strictly forbidden in China. Those who produce, disseminate, or sell obscene materials could be jailed for life, according to the country's criminal law. But while forbidding porn is one thing, actually getting rid of it is quite another, especially when users have social media, cloud-based services, and new payment methods at their disposal. Despite an ongoing crackdown against spiritual pollution, as the Communist Party once called it, porn is alive and well on China's internet. Censors have closed down many services in recent years, but in a constant game of cat and mouse, providers and users have found other ways to share adult content, whether it's self-made or pirated. Indeed, the development of the nation's online porn industry mirrors the overall development of China's intranet, as its tightly controlled internet is often jokingly called. A record high of 308 major cases of pornography and illegal publications were listed for thorough investigation in 2019, with 78% being internet-based cases, according to a statement released by the National Office for the Fight Against Pornography and Illegal Publications. Since all land in the People's Republic of China, or PRC, belongs to the state, corporate entities and individuals are not permitted to own land, although they may own the property above the land. Although the party did not abolish private ownership of urban land when it took power in 1949, it gradually restricted the rights of owners over the years. In 1982, the law finally caught up with reality when China formally nationalized all urban land. Since the early 1990s, however, urban land has been available for sale in the form of long-term leaseholds, or land use rights, which last up to 70 years on residential land and for shorter periods for industrial and commercial land. This system allowed the state on the one hand to obtain the economy-wide benefits of market allocation of land as well as the revenues from leasehold sales, while on the other hand to maintain that the principle of state ownership of land had not been compromised. After all, buyers got merely leaseholds of several decades, not ultimate ownership. The original rule about what would happen when the leasehold expired was unambiguous. The land would go back to the landlord, i.e. the state. If leaseholders wanted to extend the lease, they would have to pay for it. Google's first foray into Chinese markets was a short-lived experiment. Google China's search engine was launched in 2006 and abruptly pulled from mainland China in 2010 amid a major hack of the company and disputes over censorship of search results. But in August 2018, the investigative journalism website The Intercept reported that the company was working on a secret prototype of a new censored Chinese search engine called Project Dragonfly. Amid a furor from human rights activists and some Google employees, U.S. Vice President Mike Pence called on the company to kill Dragonfly, saying it would strengthen Communist Party censorship and compromise the privacy of Chinese customers. In mid-December, The Intercept reported that Google had suspended its development efforts in response to complaints from the company's own privacy team, who learned about the project from the investigative website's reporting. At this point, only Google rival Bing is allowed in China, and only under very controlled circumstances. Of course, there are many legitimate medical professionals in China, but there are also numerous scalpers who sell tickets to see a doctor on the black market. A viral video earlier this year of a woman with her sick mother raging against scalpers brought a public outcry and calls for arrests and tough jail sentences. Authorities have promised to intensify their crackdown, but when journalists visited hospitals in Shanghai and Beijing, dozens of scalpers operated in plain sight, loudly offering tickets for sale. A spokesman at the Beijing City Health Department said police needed to strengthen their efforts, and it would take some time to see any real results. China's National Health Ministry refused to comment. Feng Jianqi, a police officer involved in leading the crackdown on scalpers in Beijing, said the police could not resolve the issue alone. Part of the problem was that so many patients wanted to see the same doctors, he said. It's just not realistic to totally eradicate scalpers. It's just too hard, he told Reuters by phone. Of course, hospitals and doctors don't endorse this system, but it is still allowed to operate in broad daylight. In 2018, China issued a statement that it would block access to all domestic and foreign cryptocurrency exchanges and ICO websites. As per the news, China aims to clamp down on all cryptocurrency trading with a ban on foreign exchanges. China has recently been issuing regular advisories and taking steps to deter the use of cryptocurrency in the country. The development completely eliminated cryptocurrency trading and mining activities in the world's most populous nation. The recent endorsement of blockchain technology from President Xi Jinping coincided with a dramatic rise in the value of Bitcoin, after which local media cautioned on misinterpreting the remarks as supportive of crypto. Mining has long formed a profitable industry in China, with cheap electricity meaning major participants still reside there. Canaan Creative, one of the biggest Bitcoin mining rig manufacturers, will reportedly undergo a $400 million initial public offering in late 2020. Many agree that the ban by Chinese authorities will have a negative impact on the overall digital currency market. Stricter regulations by China will definitely weigh on the cryptocurrency universe, said Wayne Cao, who runs a company that recently offered 10 billion tokens in an ICO. In 2018, Chinese censors banned the release of Christopher Robin, a film adaptation of A.A. Milne's beloved story about Winnie the Pooh. The Winnie the Pooh character has become a lighthearted way for people across China to mock their president, Xi Jinping, but it seems the government doesn't find the joke very funny. It started when Xi visited the US in 2013, and an image of Xi and then-President Barack Obama walking together spurred comparisons to Winnie, a portly Xi, walking with Tigger, a lanky Obama. Xi was again compared to the fictional bear in 2014 during a meeting with Japan's Prime Minister, Shinzo Abe, who took on the part of the pessimistic, gloomy donkey Eeyore. As comparisons grew and the memes spread online, censors began erasing the images which mock Xi. The website of US television station HBO was blocked after comedian John Oliver repeatedly made fun of the Chinese president's apparent sensitivity over comparisons of his figure with that of Winnie. The segment also focused on China's dismal human rights record. He's propagating the issue, and frankly, I think he's humiliated himself by being so childish about it, says Deb Hoffman, who holds the world record for the largest collection of Winnie the Pooh memorabilia. If he would have just let it go, it would have died down by now. Plus, if the idiot knew anything, he would be delighted to be compared to Winnie the Pooh. After all, Winnie the Pooh is a very good-hearted, wonderful, thoughtful person. Being compared to Winnie the Pooh is actually quite the compliment. Visitors who travel to the Minhang People's Court in Shanghai will find themselves staring up at the U.S. Capitol building. This courthouse, like half a dozen others around China, is an almost exact replica of the Washington, D.C. landmark, with a few flourishes cribbed from the White House. It is a short distance away from Thamestown, a British-themed gated community built for 10,000 people, complete with a cathedral copied from Bristol, England. And from there, it's an easy trip to the Boot, locals' ungenerous nickname for LVMH's sparkling headquarters, which towers over the city like a white shoe. These eye-catching edifices began as China's way of announcing its arrival as a powerful player on the world stage. Now, however, the Chinese government has changed course. It has officially declared this to be weird architecture that must be stopped. Chinese leaders have turned their backs on these structures, a shift that underscores China's new conception of itself and its ambitions for the future. This month, China's cabinet and the Central Committee of the Communist Party released a sweeping directive that prohibits the construction of oversized, xenocentric, and weird architecture, lacking cultural tradition. The guidelines also forbid gated communities, presently the de facto template for upscale residential compounds, and call for future building designs to be suitable, economical, green, and pleasing to the eye. In 2011, China's media authorities stopped the clock on time travel in film and television, saying the sci-fi notion disrespects history. This would be odd for a country whose big and small screens have long been filled with historically porous period epics about scandalized courts of bygone eras. But not so when one considers that 2011 marked the 90th anniversary of China's ruling political party. The rationale for the time travel ban is that whatever isn't possible in the real world belongs to superstition, said film critic and journalist Raymond Zhou Li-Ming, who notes that time travel is untouched by censors in Chinese literature and theater. In the electronic mass media, however, which in China reaches the world's largest TV audience and the globe's fastest-growing movie market, the idea of time travel presents a clear and present danger. In time travel dramas such as Myth, currently popular on Chinese TV, audiences seem to like the story of a modern man going back to ancient China, where after some adjustment, he finds love and happiness. Unsurprisingly, China rules with an iron fist. They can officially hold suspects for 37 days without cause, but often hold them much longer. The government commonly arrests anyone with a dissenting opinion, and once you are in jail, there's a likelihood that you may never get out. This commonly applies to human rights advocates or journalists who attempt to reveal the truth. Even more daunting is China's use of the death penalty. Only 20 countries on Earth still use capital punishment, and China is by far the most active. An estimated 12,000 people were murdered in 2002, and even after massive reform, experts believe they put at least 3,000 people to death in 2019, though the People's Party keeps the official figures secret. As in any country, China's legal system is flawed, and numerous innocent people were sentenced to death. This is why otherwise free-thinking people are likely to heed China's bizarre laws and restrictions.